is a persimmon. Never been my favorite fruit, but today I'm going to show you how to wash them, process them, and we're going to try to make some persimmon jelly. Let me show you what I got going on here. This is what a persimmon looks like on the inside. It's quite slimy. And when people ask you, what does it taste like? It tastes like a persimmon. That's what it tastes like. Nothing else in the world tastes like a persimmon. So you can see it's a little bit stringy, it's a little bit fibrous, but that's what it looks like on the inside. And I have a whole sink full of these babies to process. These are, in a sink full of cold water with some vinegar in it. That just helps to kind of, get them super clean. I need to take off all the tops, which I use a spoon to do that. I'll show you how I do that. And then I need to peel them and chop them up. So let me get started and show you how I do this. I mentioned that I use a spoon to get the lids off of these. Because what you do, they have like a definite place that you can slip the spoon, and then the top just wedges out like that. So I'm just gonna do that, and I'm not gonna make you watch me do all of these. I will speed it right on up for you. I washed and took the lids off of all of the persimmons, which took some time, maybe not as long as you might think, but it did take some time. After I had gotten all of the lids out, I ran a fresh, clean sink of water, added a little bit more vinegar, and gave them another good bath. Then I made a mountain of persimmons on the counter. Then it was time to peel them, and that took eternity because they're slimy and hard to hold on to.
A few moments later.
Then it was time to chop them all up into small pieces, which didn't take as long as peeling them, but still took forever because, again, they're a little slimy and hard to hold on to. And when I was done chopping them up, I wound up with a stock pot 2/3 full of chopped persimmons. I put the pot of persimmons on the stove and added 2 cups of water and turned the flame on to about a medium heat and let that simmer away for a while. Then I made my first big mistake with this jelly, which was to add another cup of water. I shouldn't have done that. I let this bubble away on the stove for about 20 or 30 minutes until the fruit was nice and tender, and just kept it stirred while it was cooking. And then with the cooked persimmons, I used my immersion blender to blend and blend and blend until it basically looked like very smooth applesauce. I poured the blended persimmons into a strainer. I wish I'd put a cheesecloth in there. And then I just stirred it to get as much juice out as I could. With that juice all strained out, I then took the pulp and put it into a cheesecloth, which is what I should have done to begin with. And I gathered my cheesecloth up around that pulp and squeezed out quite a lot more juice. The juice was really hot, so I'm glad that I have asbestos hands. It was really hot.
That is really hot.
I cooked 6 cups of the juice over medium heat, just keeping it stirred. And I don't think I quite cooked it long enough at this stage before I got ready to add the sugar. And I added 6 cups of sugar. That's a lot of sugar, but jelly is mostly sugar, and that's why it's delicious. I also added 2/3 of a cup of lemon juice. I think next time I would have used a full cup. I brought that mixture up to a rolling boil, and then I added in 3 whole packets of Sure Gel and mixed it in really good to make sure there weren't any lumps. And I brought it back to a boil and boiled it for 2 minutes and then took it off the heat. I let it cool down for just a minute, and then I used a spoon to skim all the scum off the top, because if you leave that foamy stuff on top, it'll make your jelly cloudy. So I just took a few minutes to kind of skim that off. Once I had all the scum skimmed off, I filled my jars that I had gotten ready, and these don't need much headspace, so I just quickly got those all filled up. I put on all their lids that I had prepared and that were ready, and put on their rings, and then I water bathed these for 10 minutes. So I gave it a 10-minute water bath, set it on the counter, let it sit undisturbed. All of the jars sealed, and it's beautiful color, but none of it gelled at all. So I had to rebatch it, and that's what we're gonna do next, is see how I rebatched this jelly to save it after all that hard work I did not want to give up. What I've done is I emptied my jelly. I put half of the juice from the jars into this bowl. I've got the other half in a pot on the stove. I did add some more lemon juice, just a little bit, maybe a quarter cup to each of these batches. For each batch, I have ready and divided up 2.5 tablespoons more Sure Gel and another half cup of sugar per batch. So the instructions that I've read on how to try to reset your jelly, some of them said just boil it, some of them said add more sugar and pectin. I am going to add more sugar and pectin because I really don't want to have to do this a third time, and hopefully this will just make sure that that happens. So I had half of the juice in the bowl on the counter, and I have the other half here in the pot, which I heated over a good medium heat and brought up to a good boil. And then I added in the half cup of sugar. I cooked this over medium heat for about 20 or 30 minutes until it had reduced quite a bit, probably by at least a third. Then I added the 2.5 tablespoons of Sure Gel that I had measured out and made sure that that was stirred in very well, and cooked it for 2 minutes. In the second batch, there wasn't very much foam, but I did take a few minutes to skim off the bit of scum that was on top. I really like for my jelly to be very, very, very clear, and it just really pays to skim off the scum. And once I had the pot skimmed, I quickly just refilled my jars. Then I got the new lids put on all of the jars, and I put their sterilized rings on and gave them another 10-minute water bath. And that was a lot of hard work. So you better believe I'm super glad that my jelly jellied. And it turned out to be a really pretty color. It's a nice reddish color instead of a brown color like rebatched jelly can often be. But it's very nicely set. I appreciate you watching me ride the struggle bus on this jelly making adventure. I'm really glad that my jelly turned out. If you liked the video, hey, give it a thumbs up. Check out some of my other videos. I'm going to be doing some more cooking videos and some more shed vlogs coming up soon. So I appreciate you watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, whenever it is, wherever you are.